And recording. So let me just quickly double check. Stand by. Okay, yeah, that's all good. So we are here today. Obviously, myself, Arn Terry, and Katherine Tack. We are discussing some serendipity and we are discussing some coincidence as well. The reason that Katherine and I are here is I am creating a new book to go with my series of Practice Makes a Master, which is right here. Excuse me, which is right here. That's my first book. So Katherine and I met when I was looking to do my Akashic record reading, and I was looking to do my Merkaba level activation. So Katherine is, as she would say, a magical soul. She has helped me over the years with my energy, with my thought process, and just leveling up as a great human being. So, without further ado, it's over to yourself, Katherine, about just if you want to quickly say a quick thing about yourself or how we met, and we can get started.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Arm. And thank you for having me today. It's a real pleasure to be having this conversation with you. I love talking about all things magical. So, as Arm said, I'm a Katherine Tack. I'm an Akashic record reader. So, I open the records for people regularly to find out all the different information that they need to know about themselves, help them with problems that they're having in their lives, and also looking at some magical things that they have in their lives. And I also teach people how to achieve that higher level, higher vibrational state. And the fastest way to do that is by activating the Merkaba energy body. Time and time again, we've been through this, and it is really, really fantastic way to overcome all the difficulties that we have in the physical plane and elevate ourselves so that we can keep up with Mother Earth as she's moving. She's moving to higher vibrations. So it's quite a good idea for us to keep up with her as well.
Indeed, love it. Thank you so much. So we're going to talk about your coincidences and serendipities, which will, and I've read kind of the information, the overview that you gave to me, and we did speak about this off camera. But what I did love about one of the things that you mentioned, and excuse me for looking down, I'm just looking at your notes as well, is when you talk about showing up for meetings early. That's something that I do consistently. And I guess we're kind of in the same flow here. It kind of helps me with my energy levels, kind of like keep calm, cool, and collected to make sure I'm kind of in the right frame of mind before showing up to a meeting, or even if it's a party or whatever, I like to always get there early. So we're definitely in line with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and to just go back one little step is what I like to call these little coincidences and serendipities is little winks from the universe or from my guides, just like little nods of heads up. And like you say, being ahead of time for a meeting helps you feel cool, calm, and collected and in control. And I'm naturally shy, introverted personality, so arriving ahead of time lets me settle into the energy before meeting someone. And also means that if for some strange reason we have a difficult situation, slow traffic, a slow car in front of us, then it's not a problem because we're going to be early anyway. So that really means that uh, the flow, I'm going with the flow of the universe rather than working against it. And typically, I'm quite a fast. Well, I used to always be a fast driver, or always want to be not
Same.
not 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 breaking any speed limits, but
Yeah,
I want to get there.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm an impatient person. Let's call it
yeah,
an impatient person.
same.
So
Yeah,
so when I have these slow cars in front of me, or on these narrow country lanes in England that I live in now. I used to live in South Africa with big wide open roads, but here there's narrow country lanes, and everybody's trying to share the same space. You've got horses, you've got cyclists, you've got 18-wheeler trucks, and everybody's trying to be in the same space, time continuum at the same place. I used to get quite impatient and feel frustrated. But now I noticed that well, not now, but I started to notice more and more often what would happen is I'd be stuck behind this car and then we'd turn a corner and somebody had just had an accident. And if I'd been, full steam ahead like I normally are, I would have been in that accident. So that I've realized that driving at a calm pace, with the energy, with the flow, means that we won't have difficulties coming up into our lives. And that was really my first real wake-up call about coincidences.
And
You
just
know,
to touch on there as
yes.
well, I think so many people can relate to the same thing. I've done the same thing myself as well, but I've done it on the reverse where, and this was a while ago, and it kind of like, kind of I have a flashback of like memories of when I've been driving, when there's been a slow driver going, let's say, 20 mile an hour when you should be going 30 or 50 mile an hour, and I've indicated I've gone past that person, and then literally within the next couple of seconds I turn the corner, there's a police car there, and I remember thinking to myself when you put that when you sent me your notes on that, this is a coincidence as well, just to kind of slow down, so it works in both ways. So if you are patient and you slow down, but you see something there, but also if you too impatient, like what I've done in the past, and then you see something just warning you, and it's kind of like for me, what I call it is a bit of a nod just to watch yourself and kind of move at your pace of luck. So sorry, I just had to say that.
No, absolutely. I'm so pleased that I'm not the only one that feels this way. Like, I've got places to go, people to see. Can we move
Yeah,
on?
yeah.
I don't want to be stuck here all day. So yeah, that's great that I'm not the only one that feels that way. And yeah, and then I noticed, another one of my favorite examples to talk about is one cold, early, dark morning. It was so dark outside, and I lived in one of those little villages with they don't have streetlights. And I was expecting to have a quiet drive to myself and be on the road by myself in the morning. And that morning, my higher self just clearly said, slowly does it. And as I turned a corner to come out of this village at snail's pace, standing face to face with me was a huge cow. Okay, and a dark colored cow. And all I could see was just the eyes of this cow. Thank goodness I was going so slowly because it was just like the solid block of darkness right in front of my tiny car. And I would have definitely come off second best there
Yeah.
because I had one of those little cars. And luckily, I was driving so slowly, so I was able to stop safely, and my headlights illuminated this cow shape, and the farmer luckily was coming running down the road towards us, looking for his missing cow. But everything ended well. But that experience also stayed with me as a perfect example of divine timing and listening to your guides, and hearing into them. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many. I know I can't remember how we quoted. What was it? The winks of, how did you say it?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. The wings from
The,
the universe.
the wings from the universe.
Little
So
wings.
there's so many of those that come up, and for me, I know you mentioned 2 points of driving as well, but for me, it's the same thing as well. And for some reason, I don't know if it's your consciousness change, whether it's your level of thought going into high beta or low beta to theta, whatever that is. When it's driving, I normally get my signs more when I'm driving out and about. So, people, yes, be conscious when you're driving. Obviously, there are some winks from the universe to let you know on how you should be proceeding. And I guess obviously you save yourself, the farmer, and the cow from a tragic
Yeah,
accident that was waiting to happen.
absolutely. Absolutely. It was unexpected. So unexpected. You can be
Hmm.
in you because I've also, when I'm driving somewhere, my head's already there. What am I doing?
Yeah,
I've moved on with the day. I might be an hour ahead of myself, 2 hours ahead
yeah.
of myself. So actually bringing it back into the moment, focusing on what we're doing. But also, I have also started working with my personal dragon, and that's a very interesting experience because there are a lot of dragons available to help us at this time, at this very interesting shift of time that Mother Earth is going through. A lot of people are waking up spiritually and being able to connect to different energies. And it can sound strange to talk about dragons, but they are very real. And they visit me regularly. They give me a lot of information. So I'm very lucky. And it's something that it's a workshop that I also teach because it's been so life-changing for me. So when I work with my personal dragon, I also send my personal dragon ahead of me now into any journey. And also this helps me because I can then be in two places at once. I can be in my own thought space, doing what I need to do in my world, and then having some beautiful magical energy helping me to get to where I need to be on time, especially if I've never been there before. And yeah, it's just very, very wonderful to have that fantastic assistance and support in our
Yes.
life. We don't have to do this life on our own. You know, we do have
I hear you there, and I agree with you 1000%. And it was obviously that it was you who got me into that and going a bit deeper into it as well, and learning that, like you said, we don't have to do it all ourselves. We just have to call upon help from positive, good sources out there, and they will literally help us along the way. And if anyone follows Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks, she talks about there was a scene, I can't remember it word for word, but she was a person who would write down to-do lists, and she would write down so many to-do lists. She had an impossible task that she would never get finished, and her husband would laugh at her and say, "You've got so many to-do lists." And I can't remember who was the one that helped her out to discover this, but this is when she was writing down as Esther Hicks. She put what she really needed to do, like 20%, and then she put the 80% of the to the universe to literally help her achieve whatever she wanted to achieve. And she obviously got to do that because she believed in kind of a higher path guide, to help her achieve her what we would call the impossible. So going back to what you've said about working with dragons, absolutely fantastic, phenomenal, and thank you for getting me into the understanding of that. And I'm a student learning now and forever. So sorry to cut you off.
No, no, that's great. I love the interaction. So, yeah, so we have dragons, and our personal dragon is in charge of physical journeys. They no longer, the dragons no longer come physically in physical um, bodies into the physical plane, but they agree to help us from where they are at a high level. So they're very much like archangels.
Yeah.
People are very used to calling on archangels. It's the same. You can call on the dragons, the personal dragons. And I noticed that I do need a lot of help on the physical journey. So I'm very grateful to have that assistance. It's not a natural, I don't naturally travel well. So I'm very pleased that I do now. Well, I never used to, let's say, but now with the help I do. And I've also noticed that because I've started to work with the energies and the beings of light that are available for us, I've noticed that my life just flows like clockwork. Everything is just natural, naturally perfect. I arrive just as the taxi or the car or the bus or the plane arrives. I'm
Yeah.
always just like in flow.
Yeah.
And this became even more apparent to me recently when a family member came to visit me. And this person, let's say, is completely out of sync with the universe and preferring to control every detail and very negative about everything. So my journey to meet them at the airport was smooth and magical. Everything lined up perfectly. But once this person was with me, everything started to go pear-shaped. Little delays, mishaps, unexpected stress. I had to keep resetting my energy several times during their 4-day visit just to stay, just to keep in flow and stay sane. So for me, the lesson for me is that coincidences maybe aren't really coincidences. They're guidance, or they're little reminders to slow down, to trust, to listen to our intuition, because the universe is always speaking to us. And I say the
Absolutely.
universe, but I mean it's the beings of light. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and just to add on that as well is what people are now starting to understand a bit more, because quantum physics, quantum mechanics, quantum entanglement is becoming a bit more sexy now, and more people are talking about it, and then linking it in with spirituality as well. So when you mention the energy side of that as well, what more people are starting to understand is we see only a fraction of light. I think it's something like 0.00001% of light that we actually see from our human eyes. So there's so much more to it. So that's what, not my belief is, that's what quantum physics is now letting us know. And I think when we start to understand this a bit more, the serendipities and coincidences will become more apparent, because it's like, just because we can't see it doesn't mean that there's not a force that's helping us out there. We are getting the nudges, the winks, the kinds of pushes in the right direction, but there is a catch, or there is a thing that you have to do. You have to believe in it. You have to kind of think about it, and you have to be, of conscious mind about it as well. So 100% with you there as well, and that person's energy as well, because we obviously all vibrate in different energies. Sometimes people's negative emotions can be sometimes overpowering and kind of mess with our flow. And just one more thing, just to add, because what comes to my head as well, I can't remember what the actual term was, but in casinos, believe it or not, if they see someone on a winning streak that's literally paralyzing the casino bosses, I think it's a cooler, it's called a cooler, they'll put someone who has negative energy, and they'll put them next to that person,
That's
um,
hilarious.
to basically give that person bad luck.
Hmm.
So if mainstream casinos do it and they understand the energy, then there must be something to it as well. Bringing it back to a mainstream commercial thing rather than energy, vibration, and frequency. They understand that in its basic form.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I've always loved science, loved. And I've watched loads of science documentaries over the years. And I just feel lately they're finally catching up to spirituality.
Yeah,
And it's been because I could always feel that everything was poo-pooed. This is very woo-woo, what I'm
yeah,
talking about with
yeah,
dragons and
yeah.
vibrations and stuff like that. But finally, science is catching up, which makes me so happy that they are finally coming together. Nearly,
Super
not all the
excited.
way, but it's getting there, isn't it?
Yeah,
Um,
super excited.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I have another little coincidence to talk about,
I'm leaning
and
further now. I'm leaning closer. Tell me more.
well, I'm sure this happens to a lot of people. I don't know if you've noticed that if you're thinking about somebody, suddenly they phone you, or they contact you, maybe WhatsApp or whatever it is. But I had the most fun example recently where I was trying out this new Bluetooth earphones, because when I go for a little jog, I want to have something to listen to, and these new earphones accidentally connected to my phone and randomly dialed someone from my contact list. And this is somebody that I hadn't spoken to for ages, and we ended up catching up for over half an hour. And during that conversation, I learned some really important information that saved me some money. So thank you to my new headphones for setting that up. Or perhaps I should thank my clever guides for manipulating energy so beautifully, so perfectly.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. The accidents, which may not be accidents, that kind of nudge you in the right way. So that's a very profound and powerful story. Just how as I call it, the magic I witnessed today can lead you into great conversations, extraordinary relationships, and life-changing events. So that's just one thing that what most people call an accident, I would say, well, that's a magic I witnessed today. So thank you very much for sharing that story.
Of course, absolutely. And just to circle back to something you said earlier, I meant to say is you started talking about the higher vibrations and
Yeah.
trusting these energies of beings of light. And the other thing that often comes forward from the record keepers and guides, from my guides, is this word surrender. So when we surrender our ego mind into a place where we can accept help from these beings of light, then the magic happens. I have to say, it can be incredibly beautiful to witness all these different things happening when we've surrendered. And I think it's interesting in the Western world. I was definitely brought up in the Western way of thinking, and noticed that we're sort of taught to reject everything that isn't factual, that isn't, solidly based in sound evidence, scientific evidence. So, we can be taught to follow our ego mind too much, I think. And the ego mind, I love the ego mind. The ego mind means we're here, we're in one piece because it cares enough to keep us safe. But if it has too much control, that ends up pushing us into a place where our world becomes very small.
Yeah.
And I'll just leave it there, just very small.
Yeah, and just to touch on, I think one of the challenges as well is the identification of the word surrender. Because when people think of surrender, what comes to most people's minds is war, is fighting, and it's like, oh, I'm not going to surrender because that shows that I'm weak. That shows that I've missed the mark. That shows that I've lost. I've not won. But what people need to realize that there's so many different meanings to one word, and surrender doesn't mean that you're going to be weak, that you're giving up. It basically just means that you're embracing the situation, and you have to let go. It's kind of like when people talk about resistance, and if two people are pushing the hands together, all you need to do is one person just has to let go and put the hand down, so there's no longer going to be any resistance. And that's how, when people talk and I talk to people about surrender, that's how I explain it. It's not just like you're giving up or you're being dominated or defeated. It's literally you just letting go of the resistance to let flow the positive energy, the winks, the nudges, and the success that everyone can achieve. But it's understanding those basic principles that will allow you to have the success. So yes, thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I love the way that you've said that. It's like more of an embrace. And because I'm a control freak, I've got my hands firmly on the steering wheel of every area of my life.
Yeah.
And then when I realize that when I let go and unfold, and then I allow the beings of light to do their job, they can do it so much better than I can.
Mm-hmm.
When I delegate, let's call it delegating, embrace,
Yeah.
surrendering, then we can work together as a team, and then watch out, world, because we are going to be unstoppable. Amazing.
Indeed, we are.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, so I do have one last coincidence, beautiful coincidence to talk about
I love
today.
this one. I love this one. This actually, this one warmed my heart when you sent me the notes, and this warmed my heart. So yes, please do share.
Okay, so it turns out that my husband and I, we met on Classic FM Romance, and when we got together, we did a little bit of a reconnaissance as to when we joined, etc. And it turns out we signed up the same week. It was a cold week in January. Anybody who knows England knows January's very cold. And we joined up the same week, and we had we both endured two hilariously disastrous dates before we met each other. And it was really funny to unpick what we'd been through and the disasters that had unfolded. But I would just call it serendipitous January, that January we met, because we've been together ever since. And it's been really, really good experience. So, I mean, after everything that we've talked about today, I would say in conclusion, maybe next time anybody's stuck behind a slow car or delayed for some reason, instead of rushing or getting frustrated, just take a breath. Ask yourself, what might I be being protected from? Or what might I being guided towards? Because more often than not, you'll find the magic is happening all around you, just below the surface. And if you just stop for a moment, you'll be able to experience it firsthand.
That is amazing. I don't know what else to say from that. I think that's probably the best point to leave it from there. So, Katherine, as always, thank you so much. You are helping so many along your WhatsApp group, which I'm a member of, your website, your YouTube channel. So it's a pleasure that you've accepted to have this conversation with me and share your stories of the magic I witnessed today. So thank you so much, and wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much, Arn, and I hope you and all your listeners have a very magical day today.
We will. Thank
you.
you.
Take care. Bye.
All right, let's get this off recording.